Hello to my fellow mortgage brokers. My name is Marc Summers. I'm the president of AIME. My name is Clayton Collins. I'm the president and CEO of HousingWire. We're coming to you today from Dallas, Texas, at HousingWire headquarters, right here in the office where the magic happens every day. We have our newsroom behind us, our sales team down there, HousingWire team members walking back and forth. We couldn't be more excited to be participating today with you, Marc.
Well, thank you. Yes, but first and foremost, happy National Mortgage Brokers Day, everyone. It's going to be a great day. I am really pumped up for this day. Tons of lineups, tons of information that's going to come to you daily. But first, before we get started, we have a quick message from Barry Habib.
Hey there, mortgage brokers, AIME members. Barry Habib here at MBS Highway. Want to wish you and congratulate you on a happy Mortgage Broker Day. You guys are doing some great work out there. Keep it going. Just wanted to wish you all the best for the great work you're doing. Talk to you soon.
All right, so we got Marc out of here. It's just me now.
Nice.
Time for the interview. I am here today with the Hernandez family.
Mara's Mortgage. Welcome, guys. Thrilled to have you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Clayton.
Awesome. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Excellent. So where are you coming in today from? Where are you based?
Well, I live in Dana Point. My son Cuthberto lives in Irvine, California, and Christian lives right here in San Juan Capistrano, where the Marc's Mortgage headquarters are.
Excellent. Well, we're technically in Irving, Texas, so we won't get that confused with Irvine. It's the weird hotbeds of the mortgage industry between Irving and Irvine.
That's right.
But thrilled to have you guys here today. So this should be a really interesting conversation. One thing I've seen in the mortgage broker landscape is a lot of family businesses. And here we are today with a father, two sons, and I'm just kind of dying to start with the history of the business and how you got started. Cuthberto, could you kind of lead us in there?
Yeah, I moved. In 1989, I started in the mortgage industry by accident. So I had an individual who approached me with home financing because I was trying to purchase a home. And this person said, like, you're really bright, you understand numbers. Because my background, I'm a scientist. I have a degree in oceanology. So I said, well, this is basic math. I think the most important thing is really to connect with people. She said, well, you have the right attitude. So I started assisting this individual, translating into Spanish, but really educating people. And I think that's the nature of our business. So when I decided to start the company, I said the foundation is going to be sell through education.
Excellent. And on that, well, I kind of realized we didn't do a full intro here. So can you introduce us to your sons, and we can kind of do a brief intro on how each of you came into the business?
Absolutely. I'm Cuthberto Hernandez Sr. I'm the founder and the president and the broker. My son Cuthberto Hernandez III, he came in 10 years ago. He's a graduate from Loyola Marymount University with a degree in business, and Christian Hernandez from the University of San Francisco also joined us a few years back.
Excellent. So outside of the big change that's clearly come with bringing your sons into the business, what has changed the most for you since you founded the company and began your career in mortgage?
Well, like every single mortgage broker has experience. I personally have experienced 3 recessions. And through the process, because we started in 1993, and the same broker, same name, which is hard to keep.
Yeah.
Most people change names, change brokers, or they constantly change companies. So we have remained the same name, same broker, same location. Now, what has evolved is technology. Technology has played an amazing role in the industry today. So that's what the Cuthberto and Christian have brought into the company.
All right, excellent. So maybe Cuthberto, maybe we can start with you. What initially attracted you to join the mortgage industry, and was your first role in housing and real estate and mortgage with the family business?
Well, my wife and I, we graduated from college, and she was successful right out of college. It was 2007, so it was a perfect time to start in the mortgage industry.
Hey, I started at Citigroup in 2007, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, and so I remember thinking, I told my wife, man, I'm just living off of you. She had her CPA job. We're living together in Irvine, and we based it there because it was kind of like the hub of Orange County. So we're like, all right, I'm going to be commuting down and go to San Juan. I'll help my dad out while I go apply for some jobs. And my mindset was like, all right. It was mostly like, playing a lot of defense. I remember thinking like, man, this is like miserable. Like, why would anyone want to do this? Like, I'd come in and just shred paper, whatever it was, like, like help add value. And for some reason, it just kept growing on me, and I don't know. It sounds kind of dark, but there's not many good memories from 2007 to 2009, but it grew from there,
Excellent. That's good background. Christian, can you kind of answer the same question? How were you initially introduced? I imagine you did some paper shredding as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of similar background where you're coming out of college, 2010, which a little different experience because was the start, of what became a great recovery. But yeah, I mean, our background was always in finance. We grew up in the mortgage industry. I mean, we really did grow up answering phone calls here and doing pre-quals, so it kind of is second nature to us. Did Kubi and I both think that we'd join the family business and take it to the next step? Probably not. No, I mean, we went to 4-year degree universities and thought that we honestly probably thought that we were maybe a step above, but then coming in, seeing what this industry offers and seeing what it really means to be a mortgage broker, which what it means to us is being able to help families day to day. I mean, basically manage their biggest financial asset of their lives, and that's what we really, I think, drew us in even more and more, and getting to work with, these amazing families that we get to work with and see the value that we're adding to their lives. I mean, it just keeps us going, and so coming in 2010. Amazing experience to get to ride this past wave. So a little different start there than Kubi, but I think that's when it all really took off. And since then we haven't looked back, and we loved it. I mean, it's been a great ride these past almost 10 years. So.
Excellent. So Christian, how is since 2010? How has your role evolved? Are you originating today? Are you playing more of a role in administration of the business? Tell me a little more about the day to day.
So the evolution was, yes, I started completely as an originator, and between Kubi and I, we were just hustling every day, and basically coming in, I was mining the databases. I came in as like a refinance miner. Is how I always looked at my role, where I was just calling past clients and trying to find those little gold mines in our past databases and servicing our past customers. So then that kind of turned into, obviously now I began building my own book of business and servicing all of our my own clients, and that evolved. And then just over the past, I'd say 2 to 3 years, both Kubi and I have kind of taken a little bit more of the administrative role, or looking at the business operations a little bit more in detail, and that's through technology. I mean, obviously technology has been evolving over the past 10 years, but I mean, anyone would agree the past 2 to 3 years, especially for mortgage brokers, we've seen a huge influx in technology, and that's been a pretty amazing experience to get a little bit more in the weeds of the operations and try and grow our business and structure our business to take us, not only have we done a great job of being in operations for over 26 years, but now we want to stay in operations for another 26 years. And I think that's part of staying in business is embracing the technology, but then still keeping our core values that Kuberto's always had, and the core values of March Mortgage.
So I want to come back to the technology that you have today and the projects that you and Kubi are working on today. But before we get there, Kuberto, can we kind of go back to the 90s and kind of talk about what you did in those early years of the business, from '93 to the first crisis you saw, the dot-com bust in the early 2000s. Like, what were some of the strategic moves you made that helped your position your business to survive through multiple challenging markets, to say the least, and keep that brand consistent, keep your focus consistent? I'm just really interested because not everybody has been able to do that. And as you mentioned, people have gone out of business and started new broker shops and gone through different channels, but you stay consistent. So what did you do in those early years that positioned your business for this like initial run of long-term success?
It's interesting because once again, my background is as a scientist. So as a scientist, what you do is you are very systematic. So when you really stay on track and you keep repeating the same experiment with every single client, basically, you listen to them, you analyze, you know what are their needs, what are their concerns, and you're speaking to that possibility, then the client is less likely to shop you around or to seek an interest rate. So there is so many points that are interesting. For example, when you see a commercial and you see these Rocket Mortgage commercials in the Super Bowl, what happens? The client makes an emotional decision and rushes into the decision. When they speak to an independent mortgage broker, what happens is that the person is going to listen to them, is going to see what their goal is. And when you start speaking with him, hey, if you hold my hand and I hold your hand, you're going to accomplish that goal. Guess what? Now you have that client for lifetime. But not only that, that person is going to make decisions that are going to affect in a positive way for lifetime. And like Christian mentioned, when early in his career, he said, I want to do wealth management. I say, well, this is your job, because wealth management really is managing the equity of families in the United States. I don't know too many people that have millions of dollars in the 401k, but I know many people, housekeepers, gardeners, doctors, that have a lot of equity in their house. And if they don't manage that money well, they won't have a good earnings in the future. So we help and make educational decisions versus emotional decisions. And that hasn't changed since 1993.
So over the last 2.5 decades, as you've recruited loan originators and, sorry, I got a little echo here, recruited loan originators and grown the business, how have you been able
being a true advisor to your clients, whether they're landscapers or housekeepers or wealthy technology executives in Southern California? How have you been able to maintain that focus on providing advice and not being commoditized or emotional in your advice and client decision-making process?
It really has to do with my background because I'm Mexican. So I'm able to live with a little bit, you get used to. I mean, as soon as you experience good things, you get used to it. I think sometimes in the mortgage industry, sometimes money comes easy, and that really shifts the mindset of the person. So I have a strong faith in God. That's important and keeps me grounded. My wife is an amazing human being who is very humanitarian, so that's another thing. But basically, you try to create community. That's really what it comes down to. And when you talk about family business, really, it's like our family is also our clients.
Okay, so not to make any assumptions here, but we have the next generation of Juarez Mortgage here. Christian, going back 3 years, what were your top priorities as you looked at the technology landscape for as you and Kubi were evaluating the decisions you'd make for the future of the brokerage business that your family has built?
We're always I'm always conscious of the customer experience, so I want the customer to have the best experience, and we've always done that because we put in the work, we put in the man hours to make sure that happens every time. So what does technology help do in terms of customer experience? It's going to help take away those friction points, right? And that's what we're really utilizing technology for. We all kind of know the dockless, whether it's like just a simple e-sign or versus having to actually print out disclosures or go, sign disclosures or come into our office. It's like that. That seems so basic, but that alone, or the assets, not having to send bank statements if it's not necessary, or income. So all of these types of dockless technologies that are being incorporated is just to help remove the friction so that we can focus on what we do best, and that's advising. That's managing our clients' debt and assets, right? So that's kind of what we've been focused on, and then on top of it, it's just the CRM. Everyone always talks about the CRM. It's just so that we can always make sure that we're staying in contact with our customers when they need us, and that's not sending out boilerplate emails. We cut that out as soon as we could. It's just sending out meaningful emails and good content, but that's related to what they need, related to what is important to them at this time. So that's like been the main focuses that we've always tried to do over the past 2 or 3 years when we're incorporating technology.
And Kubi, how have you guys kind of weighed the prioritization of technology and operations projects that directly impact the customer and make their experience better, and the technology projects and processes that help make your operations and customer relationship management more efficient? Or have you found that kind of one and the same, like you can accomplish both of those goals through the same project? I'm just kind of curious how you think of the prioritization there, and because I'm sure you're limited in resources, as we all are, and how many man hours you have to put toward a project.
The moment you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to add technology, it is initially adding work to your day.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, all right, it's gonna take longer. But I think if we work hard to stay in the present, I think sometimes, I was telling my brother just recently, I get back from a vacation, and it was a very good time. I even got my brother joined me at the tail end of it. We got to spend like some time off together. And when I was coming back, I thought, I have to think differently about my time. And because that is the one thing that everyone has the same amount of. Like, if you're a billionaire, you have the same amount of time every day as the next guy, So the one thing that I started rethinking was, I started like slowing down and thinking, okay, you're the fastest guy on the team. You're the guy that gets the loans, right? Like, you're the guy, like, you're the pace car. Okay, cool. A lot of the guys out there that we're talking to that are watching or not watching, we're all pace cars. We're all the top 1%, 5%. There's always someone better or faster, right? Now, but how we think that through, I think that's where we have to start to slow down. And when I was talking to the family, I was like, well, here's one small example that everyone can do. You have a system called BombBomb. Everyone's heard of it. And I'm just going to name drop them, right? It's like a commercial, let's say, right now, right? So I'm expecting a check coming in the mail, I'm sure. It's not way. So how we're using that. So I've heard ideas all around the industry and sharing information, like our friends from up north in California. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. I still want to have an active role in communicating conditions, right? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, conditions. That is the place where we spend most of our time. And now with technology, right? Like, even with technology, conditions, you can't fake that. Like, every bank has the same problem. So I thought, okay, what conversation do I continue to repeat that I shouldn't repeat anymore? And like, one thing I'd like a little takeaway for today, like for everyone listening to us about the real fun, but I know like meaningful to us. And Clayton, I know you're like really a good guy, but it's our family history. Everyone's is different, so that's us. But for listening, I would say I'm sending out a video, and we're shooting it right after this today, that we're going to basically explain in great detail. You can't send me screenshots. You have to send me a computer printout with a URL. You blah, 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 right? Like, the whole video, like a fun video, not boilerplate. We're going to actually pay the money for our video team to edit it, like put in the information on how to do it and make it very practical for the family to watch, and at least reduce my time. I was looking at it. It was on average 30 minutes per file talking about the sourcing of funds. So sometimes I think as mortgage brokers, we're such compassionate people. A lot of us do care a lot about our friends and family and community, but the stress gets to us, and so it affects our well-being. So when it comes to implementing technology, it doesn't have to be a stress. It's like, all right, I need to get 30 minutes back. Okay, let me think about how I can do that. Now I have 30 minutes to spend time with my sons. Okay, well, there you go. Now I can go ride bikes with my kids. Or there's 30 minutes for my loan processor so she can leave early today and have better work-life balance. You know, like whatever the reason is. So that's all. It's an idea.
That's awesome. So
I mean, that's a repeatable process you're building into your entire origination process that'll make you more efficient, hopefully give your clients more consistent information every single time and on demand when they need it.
Awesome. Okay, so one of the things that has really stood out to me as I've gotten to know more originators and mortgage professionals over the last few years is that everybody has a unique story of how they came to the industry. Gilberto, you were a scientist and you started a mortgage brokerage firm. One of the things I hear kind of more and more often are people whose parents were in the industry, and that's clearly what we have here. And at the AIME event in Fort Lauderdale, I met a father-daughter team who was getting ready to enter the mortgage brokerage industry and hang their own shingle. So I want to kind of hit on the family dynamic a little bit more, and I'm getting a little grin from Christian right now. So Christian, I'll start with you. In 2010, when you were in business, did you have any hesitancies about working with your dad and your brother every single day, and how is that? How'd you make that work?
All right. Well, you know, if we're being honest, working with Gilberto, easy. Like he's like the best boss anyone could ever ask for. Everyone appreciates and loves who he is in our community, in our office, in everyone that comes in contact with him. So that makes it easy to have the leadership from the top, you know, including him being my own father, you know, really portray what it means to just take you for who you are and try and help you succeed to the extent that you want to succeed. So that's always kind of been his principle as an owner and manager and boss. But coming into the industry with Kubi, we were kind of competitors almost in the beginning.
Because you were both originating, right?
We were both originating.
The metric was
despite, like, I mean, he's always been an amazing older brother, but there was always that contention. You know, we really, I mean, whether we wanted to say it or didn't, there was always kind of that friction where we were thinking, you know, it's like, all right, like, how many is he doing? All right, I got to do better, which drove us, you know. I think that really actually, you know, if we're looking back, probably drove us to succeed, but maybe not in the healthiest way, you know. But one thing we implemented just 2 years ago was we literally combined our book of business and said, you know what, we're a team now. Why didn't we do this sooner? This makes perfect sense. We're literally producing pretty much the same production, same, you know, even when we're on the phone, clients call us and they're like, is this Kubi or is this Christian? We sound the exact same. So it's like duplicating ourselves. So that was one of the best changes that we've recently made to our business that took away, you know, any type of competition and friction that you know there might have been in the office. But you know, that's family business. It's, you have to kind of work and always try and find that balance between, you know, we've never really tried to talk about business too much when we're outside the office, and I say try because you're obviously always going to, but
yeah.
You know, even our wives go, hey, so did you hear about what Graham did today? My nephew Graham. And you know, I was like, no. She's like, do you not talk to your brother? I'm like, well, we don't really talk about, like, we're just here to work. Like, when we come into work, we're just working.
Yeah.
When we're outside of work, okay, great, family, life, you know, everything else. But that's kind of been always a transition, or always a, you know, principle that we've had. So
I still have not figured that out yet. I try so hard not to talk about work and not on night and weekends, but it's still it sucks you in. So Kuberto, you obviously did something right of making the environment work for building a family business. If you were giving advice to any other current brokers who are bringing family, whether it's a brother or a cousin or a child into the business, or anybody who's kind of considering opening their own broker shop, what advice would you give them on managing that family dynamic if it is something they're considering?
I think and is the most important thing is when people talk about family, it really shifts the word. It's community. So when you create a community where everyone is not that is equal, but everyone has the same opportunity. Because when people in Boy Scout they say do your best, not necessarily the person who jumps higher is doing the best, is who puts 100% of their effort. That's one principle. Everyone try to do your effort, and we have to find each person's heart of action. What is motivated? You know, like if we have a processor that wants to go and see her daughter receive an award at 8:30 in the morning, I cannot say you have to be here at 8 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Go, enjoy, and then when she's here, she's present. So be considerate. You create that way community. That's one thing. Be respectful. A lot of times when you are the broker, you say, I'm the broker, and you don't have a say-so. You have to do what I say. So evolve, receive input, try to implement. You don't have to implement things overnight, but you have to give the people's concerns and input into the organization. So that's really important. The other thing is don't put limits. I remember when I first worked for another company, if I was producing 10 loans, and every time I receive a check, and it was a large check, they made me feel like they were doing me a favor. Where I say, it's my work. Here, if somebody made $1,000 or got a check of $40,000, I'm telling you, it's their check. It's nothing to do with me. So all those are little details, believe it or not, because that make a difference of how the people feel in your community, in your place of work. Okay. The other thing is we emphasize when you are here, work, give it your all, but then go home. Just create that compartment where you are a mortgage broker right now, and then detach yourself and become the bicyclist or the dancer or whatever who you want to be once you get home. The perfect husband, the perfect father. So those are little details that we discuss in every sales meeting. Some people say like, what is a sales meeting? Well, we all pretty much know we want to produce, we want to increase our volume, etc. But if after the sales meetings, everyone is walking in the same direction, even if one is crawling and the other one is running 120 miles per hour, but they are walking in the same direction, I succeeded in the meeting.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, Kubi, Christian told us that you guys combined your book and business. Did 1 + 1 = 3? You happy with that decision?
1 + 1 is 28 now.
Okay, awesome.
That's a joke, by the way, Clayton. You're gonna have to. You know what that's from, right?
I don't. Fill me in. Tell everybody.
It's from the Stearns bankruptcy. It's a little joke. Sorry. I don't know if it's too soon. It's a singer. 1 + 1 is 20. Is never 28. But anyways. I'm a pretty competitive guy, as you can tell from my jokes, but the one thing I'm going to equate it to sports, because my brother and I love sports. I played water polo, he played basketball. My little sister plays volleyball. I married a soccer player. He married a soccer player. We're just like, we love it. I mean, like we live sports every day, but it's the mindset. And so when we started working together, it was not long after we had our last basketball game ever together. And it's a great story because we go up to this it's an asphalt court, like at the clubhouse of an old neighborhood. And it's a old hoop, it's been there forever. We grew up looking at it. So it's kind of like like king of the court for our family. And I was in the NCAA, I was in college. He was in senior in high school. He's about to go to college, and we're playing one-on-one. And he's beating me 1-0, then it's 2-0, then it's 3-0, then it's 4-0, and it's like 9-0, and we're playing to 11. Okay. And I was like, if he gets to 10, it's over, because it's like, there's no chance, I literally, because I'm a water polo player, like a little chippy. He comes driving down the lane for point number 10, and I maybe nudge my knee out a little further than it should have been. And he goes down for the count, bled down.
Oh, God.
And Christian stands up, and he's the bigger man. Honestly, I don't know where he gets his maturity sometimes. And he stands up and he's like, "I'm never playing with you again." And he walks off. And I was like, all right, I take it on the chin. So now I'm like laughing because I'm like, all right, so that's a memory I have, right? So now you fast forward to our vacation. Okay, so we were just on vacation together, and our two oldest sons are with us. And I was like, hey, Christian, I brought a basketball. This is our reunification. We've been working together 2 years, partners. We're on vacation together. I bring a basketball. My son loves it. I was like, let's go play. Let's go shoot some hoops. So now our sons are battling, and just seeing how we were coaching them was awesome because they are going at it. Okay, and I'm like, oh god, this is so. Christian and I are looking at each other like, okay, this is what are we gonna call it? So pretty much when the score was even, it's 3-3. We're like, all right, let's take a water break, guys. Let's take a quick water break. So we call it water break, and so it was just it was just great. So now. And actually something else that happened for my son, he loves basketball, is I always tell Graham, Christian started over Clay Thompson. I don't know if you guys know that, this is a big deal. Christian was a senior in high school. Clay Thompson was a freshman. Clay at that time was probably 120 pounds dripping wet. But at the same time, I've always told Graham that, my son. I was like, on that level, Uncle Christian played and started over Clay Thompson. And then, Graham's like, all right, that's pretty sweet. Well, Christian pulls up during the water break. We're playing hoops, right? Christian pulls up at the water break, and he drains 3 deep threes in a row, this guy, okay? And Graham just jaw drops, and he's like, oh my gosh, this guy's awesome, So, I mean, when I'm going to tell you, about, the history of our family, the background, it's you have to have growth as a person. You can't sit here and be like, oh man, I am Kubi, I'm a top producer, I'm a #1 guy. I mean, right now, the economy, it's moving in our favor. And a lot of times we have a tendency to take credit for what's already going to happen for us. It's you're just in the water, man. The fish are coming at you and you're catching them. That's what you should do. But that's not who you are. And so I think for everyone, staying in the present, just being, in tune with what's happening today, around you, not just home loans. It's hey, yeah, get home loans, in the words of Shred Media, crush it, crush it, but at the same time,
Josh Pitts will love that.
That's a little shout out to my boy, no, not the shot, Josh, but it's all good, but we're also people after it. Like you said, be a dancer, be the basketball player when it comes off the court, but anyways, yeah.
That's a really cool story. Christian, were you all concerned for your son's well-being going up against his cousin?
Oh, boys. Yeah, I mean, Grandma, his son takes a lot from him, so that's good. That's a good quality.
That's good. Okay, so I'm loving this conversation. It could go on for a long time, but I want to, since this is National Mortgage Brokers Day and it's a one-day-a-year event, I want to kind of wrap up with a question that I'd love each of your responses on. Is kind of looking at where we are 2 weeks into the second half of 2019. What is for you personally or for larger business, what is one focus you have that of an opportunity you want to capitalize on the remainder of 2019 and the first half of 2020, a project you want to take from start to finish, a team member you want to hire, whatever it is. I'm just really curious if you have one goal that makes the next 12 months successful. What's that focus area for each of you?
We starting the beginning of the year, we had a ton of goals, and then the economy took a shift and rates went down. So I think the focus that we have right now is continuing to help as many of the families that we can right now that we have, whether it's our past customers or new purchases coming in, but just really focusing on delivering on that service because the production's there, so when the business is there, yeah, keep doing what's working, obviously, so I think I'm just having that mindset of let's just keep focusing on what's working and focusing on keep delivering on the customer service with each transaction. So that's kind of been my focus at this point and through the rest of the year.
Excellent.
I'll go next. I guess for me, it's more continuing to be relational versus transactional is really my mindset right now, because whether or not we're making good decisions for our clients, sometimes you don't know, like other than like Barry Habib, no one knows what's happening in the next 6 to 12 months, like he's the only one who's proven it, right? So other than like some guys out there that probably know the future, right? Like we don't know if we're making good decisions sometimes for our clients. Like, hey, like rates are low, rates may be lower, rates could go higher. We don't know, but I think for me, it's going to be staying in the relational phase, like, really like making sure that like there's actual meaningful relationships continuing to be built for our company, and not really concerning as much with like the transactional like successes, like as like what that means. So.
Excellent.
Yeah. I want to mention a couple of things. One is that a really good friend of mine who's a worldwide public speaker said, like, when you lead, you basically have replaced yourself. And over the time, I mean, less and less people ask for me to help them because they know someone in my team will help them. So you may want to call it succession or whatever. I mean, right now, probably only 10% of the customers that call Maris Mortgage ask for Cuberto Senior. They know that any person at Maris Mortgage can serve them equally or better. And when I say better, it's because truly, most of the people in my team know more than me today. Now, the other thing is, so one thing is I want to continue being replaced, and not because I want to go into retirement, but because it really makes me feel good as a leader. So that's one goal that I have, to continue on that path. But the other thing is we keep mentioning technology, and we try to build the perfect hybrid here at Maris Mortgage. And that's another thing that I'm really focused on. Every single person who works at Maris Mortgage not only has to embrace technology because they all have embraced it, but they have to understand and know how to use the technology that we are investing in. So if I want to set a goal for December 31st to have been accomplished, is to say that every single person at Maris Mortgage understands and uses the technology properly.
I love it. Cuberto, Kubi, Christian, thank you so much for taking time today, telling us about Maris Mortgage, your history, the future. I hope everybody that listened to this very first segment of today's interviews got some value. Comment below. Tell us what you want to hear more about. We'll be speaking with mortgage experts all day long. Thank you all very much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Clayton.
Thanks, Clayton.
Bye.